Welcome to Second Take, the show that focuses on the issues behind the news. Telkom's plan to sell a 20% stake to South Korea's biggest phone and internet provider hit a wall last week when Cabinet decided not to support the deal. Engineering News online writer Natasha Odendaal joins me to discuss developments. Natasha, welcome to Second Take.
Thank you.
Telkom said Cabinet rejected its partnership with South Korea's KT Corporation. Can you take us through the history of the transaction and why Cabinet decided not to support the deal?
Right, KT Corp and Telkom entered discussions last year for a potential strategic deal. KT Corp would acquire 20% in Telkom for a value of about 3.8 billion. The deal would have resulted in the parties entering a co-source management services agreement. However, in May, an in-principle agreement saw the price dropping to about 2.8 billion, 2.8 billion, on the back of lower Telkom shares and a number of developments in Telkom. By the end of May, Communications Minister Dina Pool decided not to back the proposed deal. She stated that Telkom was a strategic asset in the rollout of broadband for all South African citizens by 2020. She also has noted that because of the price drop earlier in May, it also would not meet the needs of Telkom financially. She says despite the fact that, if KT Corp come in with a higher offer, they would still not back the deal.
How did the market and Telkom respond to the news, and what did other interested parties have to say?
Well, upon the news breaking, Telkom shares plummeted by about 8%. Since then, it's more or less hovered at around 20 Rand a share. Telkom responded to this, stating that they would like to engage the Communications Minister to just put on the table the implications this would have for Telkom in the future. Earlier last year, Telkom CEO Pinky Mohole said that Telkom wasn't strategically placed. They didn't have the means to actually roll out any significant projects. Since its announcement of the proposed deal, COSATU did not support it. It stated that it was a backward step in the privatization of Telkom. This would lead to lower costs for the rich in business and would also end up increasing the costs for the poor users. DA Shadow Minister Mariaan said that government should actually just relinquish all stake in Telkom. It should actually rather lead the way for other potential investors in South Africa to have a greater stake in it. And the Shadow Minister also believed that this was the ideal turnaround strategy for Telkom, given its embattled history of late, and believed that this would inject significant funds and skills into the South African ICT sector, which is needed. Planning Minister Trevor Manuel also questioned a Cabinet's decision, also referring to lucrative offers on the table. Government wasn't actually able to take them up properly. Solidarity also supported the deal, believing that the injected funds and the skills could go a long way in actually helping the ICT sector to develop.
What is next for Telkom?
Okay, well, Telkom doesn't believe that Cabinet's decision will be reversed. And the Communications Minister even said that regardless of whether the price goes up or not, the offer from KT Corp would not be supported. Now, the Minister has stated that Telkom is welcome to engage with them and move forward on possible ideas of what they can do to implement an urgent turnaround strategy, as she called it. But obviously time will tell on what Cabinet will actually decide in the long term, although it doesn't look very hopeful at the moment. Telkom is also set to report a between 95 and 100% drop in earnings for the financial year of March 2012. The Department of Communications said that even though it did not have an alternative strategy in place or a plan for Telkom in place of the KT deal, it would spend the next 3 months looking at options of either the government reinvesting into Telkom, other South African investors, or potential foreign direct investment.
Natasha, thank you very much. That is the Second Take show for this week. Thank you for watching and join us again next time for more news analysis.